It seems that left spin bays are about to change in a big way for Beyblade X because we are getting more of them. In this video, we'll be discussing some pretty interesting news and information that we got. So if you are new here and like bays that spin, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. Make sure to check out Mall of Bays. Not only do we have pre-orders up still for the new Soul Eclipse, but we also have a red string launcher. It is an optional way to support the channel, and I appreciate any and all support regardless. So starting us off, I do want to give credit to Shooting Bullets because I'll be using their fan-made Beyblade renders in this video. I do want to also mention I do have a great YouTube channel and also their Twitter page, so if you would like to follow and support them, make sure to check it out. They also are taking commissions, so again, I say it's a pretty good opportunity because they do very high-quality work. So in this is actually going to be reporting on the fact that we have now 2 importers that are saying that the UX17 release is supposed to be a left spin release. This is a little bit interesting here because that means at the end of this year, this is going to be more or less the exact same release schedule as previously. We're supposed to get some BXG release, which is probably some crossover bay. The UX17 is a starter, and we are supposed to get a UX18 random booster. So in this talk for new left spin, I want to put this video into kind of 2 sections. One is the candidates, like who could it possibly be, and the second one's going to be how this would affect the Beyblade X meta. So kind of like the first part just to mention is that we have not gone to left spin in a very long time. Our first left spin release of Cobalt Dragoon is now like over a year old, so waiting on Takeratomi to actually do another left spin has been a pretty long wait. Now they could always do something where instead of us getting like a homage Beyblade, we could just get like a new candidate where it could be like in Beyblade Burst where you had Longinus, Bahamut, Fafnir, you know, we had a bunch of left motifs and we just get something that's entirely unique, which I think they could probably do, and I wouldn't be against that at all. But I will be ruling it out because if you look at the track record for Beyblade X, what's been really common in all of the season releases have been a lot of homage bays. So that's what's gonna kind of lead me into either A or B for this one, trying to speculate what they would probably do. So if we kind of pay attention to last year, how many homage bays that we got and leading into it, I probably think that we could just get another Metal Fight homage Beyblade. Okay, so what is a left spin motif in Metal Fight Beyblade that they could do a homage for? El Drago. El Drago homage in Beyblade X. Call it Drago. You don't have to call it El Drago. I think that could be interesting. I don't really think if they were to do an El Drago that it would have the rubber at the start, like Medio El Drago. I would probably assume if they were to do an El Drago homage, it would probably just be like regular normal. We could just get something like, for an example, Longinus, where it was just a left spin attacker, and I would actually be okay with this where, you know, we just get like another option. Like Cobalt Dragoon can't be used for attack, but I feel like if we had something like Rage Longinus or Guilty Longinus, you know, just like a solid left spin attacker, I would also not complain at all. Because I personally thought they would just do El Drago, but it would be like the CX version, and then after that, instead of them doing like a plastic assist blade, it would be like a rubber assist blade, and you do like the Final Survive gimmick from El Drago Destroy, which is just the opposite of Turbo. Now for that, I did try to think like, you know, could that really happen? I think they could easily do an El Drago motif and there would be some hype and excitement for it. I'm not particularly a fan of them doing so many homage bays. I do want to see them not try to rely on it, even though these things are unique. I feel like every season we just go through a section of, okay, here are all the homage bays, and we rarely get kind of anything different that's not like a Persona motif or something. I don't know, I just want to see variety is what I'm trying to get at. Either way, if they don't do El Drago, what I think would probably be like super duper possible, and what I think is probably going to be the candidate, which we're going to be talking about in this video, is going to be, I'm going to be dubbing this Absorb Dragoon. So with Impact Drake and all of the advertisement, they try to advertise rubber for right spins to be this force that can repel. Now, in reality, for how rubber actually works, it is shock absorption. It is going to absorb a hit. It is not going to do a repelling hit. That's not how it works. This is quite literally why Impact Drake is at its best when the rubber is not hitting, because when the rubber hits, Impact Drake just wastes so much stamina. So to then after basically just have it be a left spin, this is where this actually works, because one, this left spin bays are almost always advertised for that spin steal equalization, you know, the shock absorption. And I also think it would be, you know, it would kind of make some sense. You do Drake, then you do Dragoon, because Chrome has just been going on the cycle where there's Cobalt Drake, then there's a Cobalt Dragoon, then there's another Drake, and then after another Dragoon. So I think this this would kind of make some sense where we do get it, and I probably think this is what's going to happen that they're gonna do. Now, whether or not they can write it in the story to be actually interesting is a different story, because Impact Drake was so funny where they put this in the story, it transcends the laws of physics and Beyblade, and Chrome just fucks off the whole season. Like, okay, they could just do that again, probably for the 3rd season, why not? Where this will get interesting, and I kind of want to focus this, is if we do get a left spin that is another one. Let us assume that we basically get Impact Drake, but they just make it for left spin. They flip it, basically. This would be pretty scary. Would it break the meta? No, but it would make the meta very interesting. To have a heavy equalizer, you know, heavier than Cobalt Dragoon, you know, even if it's like 39 grams or whatever, I think, you know, is gonna be a little bit scary. So let's talk about the impact this would have on the meta. Now, first of all, we have to clarify something, that no matter what, a left and a right Beyblade will always equalize. It does not matter if you have rubber or if you don't have rubber. Rubber is never a factor for the equalization. Rubber can soften the blow, right? As it's being attacked, but you don't need it necessarily. Like, Cobalt Dragoon on Elevate is good just because of the fact that Elevate is hard carrying Cobalt, but it still works out well. Now, if we were to have, let's say, the reverse of Impact Drake, and it has the rubber there, in a meta that I feel is pretty heavy for attack, kind of check a lot of these attackers and make it a lot harder for them to be used, which I would say Cobalt Dragoon still kind of does that in the current state of the meta, but we could also have it where this could compete with something like Rod Hexa more consistently, maybe to stabilize it a little bit easier. This could be something, or maybe this revives the ball meta. I think right now on BEYBLADE X, you don't really use like the free ball or ball, at least based on the Ontario Beyblade meta, just because we just use a lot of attack heavy meta, so we burst any of the ball bits. So then after we just use like Rod Hexa, because Rod is kind of hard to burst when it's on Hexa, and it can outspin those attackers. So I assume there would have to be some type of meta shift. And overall, I'm not really against us getting more left spins. One, I think they've been pretty conserved with this, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I do think the direction of them going in here, it would make for a very strong and exciting release. I also think them not doing like El Drago homage bay as like the first rubber Beyblade in BEYBLADE X, I think is actually a good thing. Or the first rubber Beyblade in BEYBLADE X like being like a Drain Fafnir homage. Like Dragoon, you know, it's like it's a homage, yes, but it's not really like that was the main staple gimmick of Dragoon. I do think it's going to be something that's going to be very exciting to see. I think right now the BEYBLADE X meta is in like this okay place where there's nothing that's too drastic or insane. And honestly, I'm excited to see what Takara Tomy is going to do right now. We have some upcoming releases with Clock Mirage. We have a bunch of custom line stuff releasing later on near the end of this year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this meta shifts by the end of this year, if it is left spin with rubber. That's where I kind of want to end off this video. What are your thoughts in the comment section below? What do you think this is going to be? Is this going to be a regular left spin attacker? A left spin equalizer? Do you think this will be a homage Beyblade or some unique motif? Let me know in the comment section below and what your predictions would be for the meta. And that's kind of it for this video, so I want to say thank you all for watching, and that's going to be kind of it for now. So I want to say take care and bye.